Good day and welcome to the Power Up. I'm your host, Tami Hill Thomas. So excited that you're joining us today as we delve into information and inspiration. And I promise you, this is one that you don't want to miss. So let's jump right into Inside the News. Today, we're going to share and elevate a crucial topic in our nation. We're dealing with across so many different platforms the struggles with mental health. During the pandemic, many individuals who may not have even known that they were struggling with anxiety, with depression, with different scenarios and issues, being alone, being secluded, found themselves in a place where they needed assistance. They needed help, even medical treatment. We want to remind you today that stigmas do not matter when it comes to health care. You would not walk around with a broken leg. You should also not walk around feeling emotional distress, feeling where you're insufficient mentally, or acknowledging that something's just not right. That whole it's okay to not be okay. So today we want to elevate and appreciate that the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, continues to educate and empower individuals so that family members have resources at the ready. They know where to go when it comes to having to be able to relate, not just to their family, their loved one who might be dealing with a crisis, but the mental health professionals, those medical professionals that are there to help us with our mind, our brain functions, those of us that deal with different scenarios throughout life. Aging alone takes an impact on your brain and your thought process. Oh, come on, somebody. I'm not the only one that by the time I get to the another room, am trying to remember what I went into that room for. We all deal with struggles in life, and we're grateful that NAMI has taken on being a valuable resource. The National Alliance on Mental Illness shares different information that we want to highlight today. They have education classes. When you go to www.nami.org, NAMI for National Alliance on Mental Illness, they have classes that can help individuals across the country. Thousands of trained volunteers bring peer led programs to a wide variety of communities. It is part of their work and they're passionate to do. They've educated in churches and schools with many, many other NAMI affiliates with a unique understanding that people matter. Come on, somebody. That people with lived experience can make a difference for those who might be going through trauma right now. And many of the classes and the programs that NAMI offers support individuals to provide free education, skills training, and yep, 101 support. So we want to make sure that you're not only aware of this agency and all that they offer, but how you can make a difference where you are. Some of the basic classes are for parents, guardians, family caregivers, and they help provide, connect you with experienced mental health professionals so that you're aware of mental health symptoms. And those classes are even offered in Spanish. So it's not limited to your ethnicity. Feel free to tap into the resources that are available at NAMI.org. NAMI's family to family classes offer significant opportunities to connect so that people in families are aware of conditions and prepared to support those living with those conditions. Family, the stigma days have to be behind us. People ought to care. If your feelings are important, your emotions matter, and you do as well. Consider tapping into the resources for yourself. Listen, tap into evidence-based programs that have been doing this work. They facilitate such an understanding of healthcare conditions that they increase coping skills. So you don't have to wing it and figure out what you need to win at life. They also empower participants. Where they themselves become advocates. How about that? Using your voice and your experience to change the life and help someone else. If you're hurting, we're all hurting. It takes each other to make this one human race. And mental health is health care. Consider going to the NAMI helpline. If you find that you're in a position where you need to speak to someone, where you're just unsure of what you're dealing with, recovering from a loss isn't as easy as you'd hoped, dealing with a setback in life, you can get the support. 1-800-950-NAMI. Those individuals are there to provide whatever guidance can be helpful to you. And again, I'm going to say it, even for family members. Listen, your circle matters. So shouldn't you be surrounded by folks that are both educated and insightful so that they're using compassion and understanding when supporting you? If you were on crutches, you wouldn't want to be around people that don't understand that it's going to take you a few more steps to get to where you're trying to go. It's going to take a little bit more time for you to just do simple day-to-day things like using the bathroom and cooking, even carrying the bags that you used to carry, because you need an aid. You need assistance. You're in a place of healing. Now, doesn't it mean the same when it comes to your mental state? When it comes to the feelings of having to recover from what you've dealt with in life, including traumas and setbacks? Family, NAMI is there for you. The National Alliance on Mental Illness. Go to their website. Classes are there to help those around you. And you can tap into the NAMI helpline on their website as well. But if you're old school and just need to pick up the phone and hear a voice like I do sometimes, call the number on your screen. Get the support that's there just for you. Judgment free, expectation free, open space created to help you in your wellness journey. Family, we hope this information was helpful. We want to remind you, we, the production team of the Power Up, that you matter to this earth. Everything that's a gift inside of you is still, we're waiting to see, to witness, to support. So if you're in a place where you find that, hey, I do want to talk to someone, I do want to understand what's going on with me, because I do want to be a better me, we have resources for you, and we hope this information was helpful. And remember, you're accountable to the people around you. So sharing the information you just learned is also that much more important. Let someone else know there's resources out there, classes you can take to help skill development and help you figure out coping skills. Family, we're always here. You are our family. And I got to tell you, the sister that we're bringing up next, I'm so excited to have interview opportunity with. But listen, you got to stay tuned because there's so much more after this.
Yes, mirror talk because it's necessary. It is necessary. So grab it next time. After I talk about this, I want after the show, you go to the mirror and you talk to yourself in the mirror. And I'm just going to give you some tips to talk about in the mirror. Welcome. I welcome you. Sparkle, I welcome you to the new beginnings. Girl, I know things have not been how you wanted it to be, but I welcome you to new beginnings. That means that crazy way of thinking is a crazy faith way of thinking. I want you to think the impossible. I want you to dream like you've never dreamed before. I want you to pray like you've never prayed before. I want you to stay connected like you've never stayed connected before. We are building a new foundation that cannot be that's unstoppable, that cannot be moved, that cannot stop anything from happening. Amos 9:13, girl, it's all over you. You have welcomed your new beginning for a new life and a new way of living. This has been your Mirror Talk with Sparkle.
Welcome back to the Power Up. Again, I'm your host, Tammy. Come on, family. Amazing information we just shared. How important it is to remember mind, body, spirit, finances, relationships that all make you amazing matter. So when you find yourself in a place or a deficit or where you feel unusual or uneasy, that means the normal is now not normal. So anything not normal, you should take an opportunity to educate yourself on and even speak to a mental health or a doctor if necessary. I'm glad to bring our next expert on. Now, I want to say this. She has used her media savvy, her entertainment experience and name to elevate such a cause. So I'm excited to be able to welcome today the amazing CEO of Simone Walker Studios and Productions as she joins us and delves deeper into this topic. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
That was quite an introduction. Thank you, Tammy. How are you? How are you?
Oh, I am so much better with you on the show today.
Oh,
I've seen you in this very seat interview some phenomenal folks like that
yes.
have been doing what they've done for years, making change. And so it is absolutely my honor to put you on the hot seat. Um, one of the things that before we jump into the amazingness that makes you you, I have to jump into what I just shared because I know it's hard work for you. You
Yes.
are a people person,
Yeah.
born into it and
Yes.
thriving in it. Please share your thoughts that would encourage someone today.
Oh my gosh, it's there's just so much to even cover, and it's just such a topic that our people just shy away from, and we don't bring to the forefront to address and to find resolution when we really need them. And a lot of times we just don't know that there is a problem or concern because we miss the signs. And so it became a real passion for me to delve into making more people aware of the signs that they may look over or they may ignore or they may just brush off, because it's just not something that they would ever think or dream that there's a mental health illness there. And so it led me to, after a tragedy in my own family, it led me to start the You Matter campaign. And so, with that, I was interviewing persons who have considered or attempted suicide. And they shared their stories for the first time. Their families didn't know it was out there. And now they had to face it because now their story is out there for other people. And it ranged from the everyday person to the pastors, so there are interviews on my YouTube channel with those persons, and they share those ideas or those things that people miss, or they share where they are and why they got there. And so it became a very, 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 very intimate topic to my heart.
And we've seen your work. We've seen your work. Those who are in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, know your work very, very well. Not just on amazing shows like Fatal Attraction and stuff as an actress, and we'll delve into that in a second, but
Yeah.
they've seen and heard your voice over decades
Yes.
now.
Yes.
You started out as a DJ, and now you've grown into such a production studio that those who are seeking it to grow in entertainment seek you professionally. Share
Mhm.
your journey.
Well, I started out as a girlfriend of a radio announcer. And I'm not going to call any names because that's way past my lifetime, you know? So I started out as a girlfriend of a radio announcer, and there was a campaign to get new students at the UDC college, university. And so the commercial was about, you know, getting students to sign up and stuff like that. And so they asked me to do the one line. And remember, students, UDC is the smart choice. And that was the tagline at the end of the commercial. And it went to the general manager, and the general manager's like, who is that? And why are they in the studio? They like that. And then they offered me the Thanksgiving gospel special. And then from there, Don Edwards Miller heard me on the air at UDC. Scared, sound like, what is she doing on the air? But Don heard something, and I already knew Don Edwards Miller, and he offered me the Friday nights at WYCB. And from there, I went to overnights at WYCB, the midnight musical, and then to the middays at WYCB. And from there, I just took what I learned in doing voiceovers, and I'd already been doing some acting. So I took what I, learned from doing voiceovers and producing them and writing scripts and all that. I took it and started my own business. And so it's been, ongoing ever since.
Man, and you kind of listen, you're kind of minimizing it here. So I want folks to know that aren't familiar with the radio station mentioned, that was before Radio One like blew up.
Yeah. 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 It was WYCB
Pardon
before Radio One.
technical. Sorry, that was back when Radio One was just kicking off.
Yeah, so radio WYCB was a standalone station, and then after I
Yeah,
left,
right
it turned to
before was
yeah, it was
kicking off.
purchased by. It went to Radio One, so that was after, and then someone else, Beautiful Soul, came in my spot afterward, and she just took it off and just blew up and everything. And I won't call her name, Denise Hill, so she did an absolutely wonderful job. she, yeah, so proud of her. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but never stopping.
no,
Like you don't stop.
no,
And
no.
more to what you did at a young age, being a preacher's kid of a huge pastor in the District of Columbia. Also starting your own foundation at a young age as a CEO to
Mhm.
help impact education in kids,
Yes.
and continuing to do all of this with regular 9 to 5s or figuring out how to impact the local District of Columbia community, and then growing into Maryland and Virginia, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I have to ask the question because a lot of people, they think small starts are it.
Yeah.
What propels you to keep going?
Just to constantly see there's a need, and that if I can make an effective change, then there's no stopping. There's no stopping. And I want to go back and correct just one thing. The nonprofit that was started at the Rehoboth Baptist Church at the time was started through the church, and I was the CEO. So it wasn't particularly mine, but it was the church, and I was the CEO. But I did bring the idea to the church because we were in the Southeast community, and we saw a need there. And so we took the opportunity to start the one-on-one mentoring program with the Department of Education, starting with a $600,000 grant for 3 years. And we were able to impact a lot of young people who became so attached to that location because it was a safe haven for them at the time. Their life, taking some of the kids home, walking through some of the areas was honestly scary for me. And to have them to live in that on a constant, it broke my heart. It really broke my heart. So we were able to make a change, and I still have communication with a lot of those youth, even today, from them ninth grade on up to college and doing well. So just to make that impact, that's the reward here on earth. So that's what keeps me going, to be able to make that impact and to whatever I can do to share the information that's needed. Just like you, look at this platform that you're providing for people, that you constantly keep going, that you constantly encouraging people, that on that day, that encouraging word just lifts their spirits. And that's just the reward that makes it all worthwhile.
And like I know, sometimes it's like we speaking life into ourselves and they just get to eavesdrop.
Yes, yes, because you have to encourage yourself. They we go through things ourselves, because we're human. We're in the flesh. Life doesn't stop because of what we do. So we do go through things ourselves. And from those experiences, we are able to pull that empowering moment, that what we learned that helped us through the storm, and the words from somebody else can just make a world of difference. Like when my father passed, I was broken. I was broken. I can tell you, I've only seen three faces that I can remember outside of, my parents, my family, being at his funeral, that I know that were there, because I couldn't even open my eyes to, I was broken. I cried every single day driving home from work, because every time that was my alone time in the car. Every single day for 6 months, I cried in that car going home, until I told somebody that, and they said, your father feels your pain, and he's not able to rest because he doesn't feel like you are okay with this. That word right there just gave me the peace that I needed to give my father the rest that he needed. So words make a difference. And you never know what your words can do for somebody else that are having a bad day, and you're giving them attitude because they're having attitude and you don't know what's going on. So it's just staying mindful of somebody else and where they are instead of where you are. Both of y'all may be having bad days. Oh my goodness, a bad day, but who has the mental thought to say, well, let me stand back, and maybe I can give them the encouraging words. And that just lifts my day, so words matter.
That's huge.
Hmm.
And that's huge coming from someone who's in front of a microphone regularly, like almost daily. The mic is hot. You're never not in front of a mic. We know you to be voiceover artist, which means you're recording for others using your talents. We
Yeah.
know you to instruct others on
Yeah.
how to use their voices to do the same. We
Mhm.
know you're also an event host. By the way, I'm not happy that I missed you hosting at Bethesda the other night.
Oh,
Who was our guy that performed?
oh my gosh, which one? Let's see. What was the last one I
Was
had?
this Peebo that performed
Oh
his
my God.
uprising?
Peebo was
Or
the
was it
first
Shalimar?
show. Shalimar was the last group I hosted a couple of weeks ago, yes. And before then, it was Howard Hewitt alone. So coming up is the SOS band and some more coming up next month. So yeah, Peebo was my first one. It is so crazy that I was so in love with Peebo from a child, listening to his music and then when they called and said, can you host? I'm like, close your mouth first. Yes, I can, absolutely. And then I got to do it again. So it's like, because you never give up on your dream, those dreams come true. And then dreams that you would never have imagined that would happen are happening now. So, it's staying faithful to who you are, staying faithful to God, and trusting him always, just affords you the opportunities that I would have never dreamed of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've noticed in your journey. You've been very honest and forthright about your faith and
Hmm.
how important it is to tap into your source to
Hmm.
help balance you in those uneven moments. And yeah, we saw the picture of you with Howard Hewitt, and I know you do big things, honey, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so glad. Not just your entertainment fight, like you're an actress in your own right.
Yeah.
Some people, that's where they stop. But
Yeah.
your desire to pour into others,
Yeah.
Tell us, if you will, because there are some people who have ideas that they're finding difficulty birthing, or they feel like where they are is the ceiling. Share some advice and tips with our viewers on how to start.
Well, well, first I want to say with Howard Hewitt, it's funny because my closing song on my show was "Say Amen," and so when I got the picture with him with our hands, in prayer moment, I was like wow, it was just amazing, and so he was so kind to do that. But to get started um, I think people get stuck in where they are and don't look past what they can do. If you're at a job and you're doing this job, you have a skill. Your resume shows you your skills. And so to step out, people think that you have to have a whole bunch of money to get started and do this, that, and the other. Well, for me, I was able to do things on my own because I had been in the arena of advertising and marketing and promotion and sitting out there with the microphone and doing the PR. So I could create my own content to do my advertising, and starting with a flyer that was a horrible looking flyer at the time, but the information was out there. And so I learned down through the years, it doesn't stop you from going where you want. And then you look into grants, and then you look into how to fundraisers, and then you look into what it is you really do and you want the people to know. And now we have social media. That's just a platform that we did not have back then. We had word of mouth, we had flyers, we would print 1,000 flyers and we go out in the neighborhood and put them on the cars and the businesses and the business cards. You created them on, you get the printer from Avery and you print your little business, you print your little business card and you pass it out. Well, now you have things on your phone, the digital, business card. So you have all of these things that now there's nothing that should stop you from being who you are. I should never be unhappy at a job. And one of my bosses said that to us in a staff meeting one day. Nobody should ever go to work unhappy. No one should ever get up and say, I can't stand my job. I don't want to be here, and just stay there and be unhappy. That brought stress and depression to me for a while. And the job just kept poking at me and poking. I said, okay, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to step out on faith. And God provided me during 2020 when I was off work for 2 years. And it's like, you have all this equipment. You have your camera that you just bought. Yeah, you paid a nice amount for it. You have your equipment. You have your background. You have your skills. What are you doing with it? What are you waiting for? So I put that camera in front of me and I started the Simone Talk Show. So if when I needed guidance, I reached out to those who had already been down that avenue. And so I didn't recreate the wheel. I just created my own wheel, and then I molded it to what I needed it to be. So don't let anybody tell you you shouldn't or you can't. That is ludicrous to me, because you can if you have the will and you have the drive and you have the desire to really want to do something different. You really can.
Those are key words, the
Yeah.
will and the drive.
Yeah.
And thank you for your transparency, because many folks, thousands were impacted by the pandemic. Thousands were impacted. Even prior to the pandemic, there have been agencies that have been shutting down. And
Yes.
since the pandemic, right? Life is lifing.
Yes.
And so we have to figure out when we have to tap into what we've been hardwired with as gifts and talents
Mm-hmm.
that make us unique.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to ask though, you have transitioned and touched so many different things. I want to go to the theater side of you for a second. I'm a thespian at heart.
Oh,
Um,
darling, darling,
it's
darling.
one thing. I got you. It's one thing to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
How has it been since, I mean, acting in Raisin in the Sun, acting in local plays, acting in so many, and then on screen, and BET and things like that. And now you're in a position where you shift and now you're writing and you're directing and sold out shows. Like, tell us what that journey was like to shift into this new space going behind the camera.
Well, I think that number one, I have been in theater since junior high school. So when people who want to get into it, I say, write down everything you've done. I don't care if it was elementary, you were a tree in the elementary school play, write it down. And so we can get a journey of your acting history. And so I've been acting since then, since junior high school. And in high school, I got the class clown, in the yearbook, class clown. Who did that? I don't understand. So, so I've always had it in me, and I've always done the church plays, the church productions, and then I was stage manager for a church production. So I got that behind the scenes, with my brother being the director and making sure everything was in line at that point. So down through the years, those things where I was doing, didn't know that it would turn into where I was going. I just carried those skills along. And so getting into theater was like a big boom when I did the productions at Evangel Cathedral, the 300 cast member productions. And I got up on that stage and I was like, oh, yes. Literally. Actually got up on stage. I'm like, yes. I'm loving this. And so I sought out opportunities, and then I got the leading role the supporting role in a student film, One Chance. And I was a teacher at a school, and dealing with a out of control young child. And she was able to turn her life around through the communication and through the relationship that I had with her and everything. So then it was like I got bit by the film bug, and so I learned and I followed people and found where to find work and all that kind of stuff. So it has always been in me. But then on the flip side, I'm like, the things that I've learned, the stage manager, the producer, and then showrunner of a television pilot, all those are behind the scene things that I already knew from coming up, through my journey. So I just put them to action. And so now with my own equipment, I can produce my own. I don't need to wait for somebody else to say, can you record my monologue? Put the camera up and record your own monologue. So that's what I did. And now you have iPhones. My camera was about $4,000, the whole set. Okay, and here y'all coming up with iPhones. What? Can I turn back the hands? No, so it's now ring lights, and we didn't have any of that stuff back then. And so now all of these opportunities and all of these ways to get it done is just there. It's just there.
That's powerful, man. And I thank you for your perspective. I'm going to ask you to hold on 1 second.
Yes,
We're
ma'am.
going to delve deeper to help some actresses and actors who want to step into the business.
Yes.
I want to ask, when we come back from this commercial, if you can share some tips with them, talk about their bio and some things that they need to know about headshots, and really let's pour out of the skills, if you don't mind. Family, hold tight. There's more after this.
Hey everybody, this is Regina Hutt, the wellness practitioner on Empowered Mornings. We'd like to invite you every Wednesday night, 8 p.m., uniquely and gorgeous, to keep your mind locked and loaded on WIN Network.
family, welcome back to the Power Up. Still with our amazing guest who's pouring so much life, inspiration, and information into all of our viewers today. CEO of Simone Walker Productions. Again, one of the amazing in the business, doing it on a major way. I want to take a minute while we're speaking to have a part two to the conversation delving into your how do you start. There are individuals, and we get a lot of viewers who watch this show that are from around the globe. And so the information that you're sharing is not limited to a certain geography. You're talking about how to get into film. There are filmmakers and producers all over the world. How can individuals, what tips would you share for as a 101 that I want to start? There's some do's and don'ts that you share regularly that I'm going to ask that you share with our viewers.
Yes. So if somebody wants to get into to the world of acting, first you have to understand what it is really you want to do. See, people get this idea that television is it. I want to do that. I want to be on TV. But there are so many different ways of acting that you have to figure out what kind of actor you really are. And so from there, you have to get with somebody. You have to get into some kind of training who is going with somebody who's going to lead you into what it is you need to do. You need to have an actor's resume. And what does that look like? I've received, when I say, send me your resume, I've seen your employment resume. So they don't know that there's an actor's resume, what to put on that actor's resume. When you go to get your headshots done, this is not a time for glamour shots. They want to see you in your most natural, not totally stripped, but your most natural. You don't need 5 layers of makeup and, a whole bunch of, to be honest, hair weave. And you don't want to do all of that, because if they see that picture and you walk in for an audition and they're like, who is that? That's not you. Then you're defeated the purpose. So knowing what types of, how to prepare for getting proper headshots done, what to wear at an audition, the colors and your outfit, what to say in an audition, and how to prepare for your monologue. What type of monologue do you want to do? And that would say what type of actor you want to be. So there's a lot of, let me get this now. And so I don't have any experience. So how do I build it? Well, I'm not doing background. Well, background gets you in the door. Background gets you on the experience. See, casting agents want to see what you have as far as experience is concerned. And that your resume shows that. Okay, you've done background for this film. And so that says to the casting agent that you've been on a film set. So you've done theater. That tells the casting agent that you've had background and discipline in theater, which is the absolute best start, because theater absolutely gives you the most discipline that you need, because you have to know your cues. You have to know where to stand on stage, not have your back to the audience. You have to know how to speak loud enough where the audience can hear you if your mic goes out. You have to be cognizant if your mic goes out without yelling at the audience, but being able to let the audience in the back hear you without, screaming. You have to know your scene. You have to know your lines. There are no cuts, and let's take it back. So there's a lot of discipline that comes through theater. And I always encourage everybody to do at least one stage play production. And then understanding the different layers of that. There's theater and then there's stage play. Well, what's the difference? Theater is more like a musical, like Pippin and stuff like that. Stage play may do Raisin in the Sun. And then you have film. So it just depends on what it is you want to do and where you really want to get started. So if you're starting from scratch, you got to know who you are, know exactly what you want. And then we start from there, and then we build.
From the expert family, from the expert. the one who looks at headshots and determines if she's going to cast you for something or
Oh,
forward you for another interview, the one who you have to sit in front of and have to have those answers when they ask a question. I think I appreciate most in the tips that you just shared the emphasis on the versatility that people often miss when they hear actress, or actor. We have certain ones that come to mind,
hmm
but
hmm
there's a quality and integrity and character with work ethic that
yes,
comes to any type of job you have, including, as you say, knowing cues, presence being just as important in a meeting as it is when you show up on set. So I
yes.
thank you for that. But I want to ask you one more thing. What are some don'ts? What are some absolutely do not? I love the thought that you shared about don't have a wig on the resume and then you show up a different look. What are some others that you would share?
So when I say not, I say when you're doing your headshots, don't go in for a glamour shot because this is not a photo session for glamour shots. You're going in for headshots. So do your homework on Googling what headshots are. Headshots are not here and all this and headshots. They want to see headshots. So there's a parameter to those things. And, you're not your hands and, your hair down in your face. Those are not headshots. It's not time for that. So when you send it to them, they're looking to match you to what their vision of that character is. And so you definitely do not want to, please, I read the casting call. Directors do not want to deal with and will reject quicker than God gets the news a submission that didn't read the casting call. So if it says we're looking for African American female between the ages or who can play the ages of such and such and such and such with short hair, tall build, whatever. Don't send them bunny ears and you doing sexy. Don't don't do that. We get who we it's one part that I absolutely love to do is casting because you not only do you get to see all the things that come into you, the pictures of men standing on the back of trucks with their pants just above the areas and like that, it's not a headshot. And so not only receiving these pictures, but you're able to reach out to them because they don't know better. Some of them just don't know better. And so there's another opportunity to teach. Hey, let's have a 30-minute free consultation on your headshots. Let me help you get you in place. And then we can take it from there. Some people receive it and some people are like, I get cussed out and that's okay. It's been there before. But it's always a teaching moment. Don't go into a casting audition and speak anything negative. How is hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good, but my gosh, it was so long to get here and the rain was just horrible, but I made it. Don't say anything negative, everything positive, because they're looking to do, they're not worried about your attitude. They're not going to have to worry about, what may, bother you or anything. They want to see positive, uplifting, people. And as they're filling you out, you're filling them out also. And so you want to stay positive in that. And you want to give them exactly what they ask for in the audition casting call. That is very detailed advice that I would just love to share with everybody.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But can I share, as we wrap up, I want to shift into another part of you we haven't even touched on yet.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And that's the don'ts that you just shared,
Mm-hmm.
to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Read first, know what you're applying for, know what you're going to say, look the part. I literally heard you present as a career coach on an employment platform recently. The exact same do's and don'ts.
Yes.
Preparation is
Yes.
everything. So
Yes.
you also pour into folks who are employment seekers or
Yes.
even those who are just growing as professionals. What
Yes.
propelled you to feel like you could impact them too? And what other don'ts or do's would you like to share with them? I want to get it all.
Well, the thing is, I learn, and you have to have an open mind and learn from your journey. If you don't follow or look at people who have been successful in what they do, they're successful because of what they do. And if you want to go off and do your own thing, that's fine. But you have to stop and say, how successful is this working for me? Let me see how that works. Don't put your headshot on your resume. Your headshot should be separate from your resume. It should be stapled to the back of your resume. Your name should be on your headshot so that they know it's either on the back, small on the front, that they know who this is when you send it in. Those are things. You don't put your phone number and address on your resume. You don't put that on your work resume. You don't put that on your actor's resume. So again, it's just getting into a training to understand what it is I need to do and what I should not do. And why haven't I landed the role? Structuring an actor's resume is very important, because you could say, I played James in the movie such and such. Well, what character was James? Who was what role was that? Because they just don't know. And so you don't put modeling on the same resume as acting. That's a whole different platform. So some people try to cram everything that they do on that same resume, and that bores the casting directors, because they're looking for this specific field, this specific area. And so I have a voiceover resume, I have a actor's resume. And so those are the things, you separate those things. And so it's always something that when you're able to pour into somebody else, Tami, as you know yourself, when you're able to pour into somebody else and make a difference, that's most important. And I will just want to throw this point in with acting. It was the vehicle that gave me the strength to manage and deal with my father's passing. Because the day after my father's homegoing service, I was one of the characters in a huge production called Blue Corner Bandstand. And they had a live band and the whole 9 yards. And I had to continue going. But I took that hurt that I was dealing with my father, and through my training as an actor, I was able to channel it through the character in moments that were needed for that passion. So, but you still have to be able to be professional enough to pull it back in, so it was my go-to, my comfort. That was something that I needed to help me get through that. So finding something after that, and it goes back to mental health. That was something that I found that assisted me in maintaining a sane mind after that loss, because it was such a painful loss. And so I love that this platform gives that, and everything can go back to that mental health, status. So yes, that it was most important.
Man, and thank you for sharing that, because we often forget that those we see on screens are real life folks dealing with real life issues too. We
Yes.
just see it for entertainment and expect folks to turn it on and be ready.
Yeah.
And for folks who can and have a savviness, like I have similar, right? The day after my dad's funeral, I had to do this show. And
Yeah.
my producer gave me an out and said, Tami, we understand. And I said, I can't. This is what's going to.
You have to keep going. You definitely have to keep going. And it's not that it's cruel, but it's real. I mean, if something happens, you can't say, I don't want to be in this. I can't do it right now. You have committed. And that's one thing about an actor. An actor really knows you can't just say, I don't want to anymore, Or you as a talk show host, you can't just say, I don't want to anymore. When I was on the radio and I broke up with my boyfriend, I'm crying. Well, when that mic come on, good morning, everybody. Welcome to You can't, it is a whole, so they say radio is a actor's, theater of the mind, because they can't see you, but they can hear you. And so, yes, you definitely have to keep going.
Yeah. You are so powerful, and there's so much more, including inspiration and motivation and things that we haven't even tapped into that's part of you. I would love to have you back as a guest in a few and bring more entertainment know how to this platform so that folks are hearing from an expert. We try here at the Power Up to make sure that we share viable information from those who are quality and experienced. So we would love for you to come back. Family, you can reach out and listen, seek information on how to do voiceovers. Make money with your mouth. You can do it. It is possible. There are classes that have been offered through Simone Walker Productions. Please feel free to reach out on Facebook, on Instagram, all things Simone Walker. Also, you can send an email directly to SimoneWalker03@gmail.com. And yes, check out her show, Simone Walker Talks, on YouTube, the Simone Walker Talk Show. We're looking forward to some new episodes forthcoming on that channel as well. Family, I'm just so honored, so thankful, not just because you've delved and poured into us, but the transparency you shared. And thank you for your advocacy for mental health and for elevating the cause of suicide prevention. It is so important that folks know it's okay to seek help when you need it. Okay, I have 60 seconds left as we get ready to go to commercial and wrap up. Simone, please share your heart and any inspiration you'd love to pour into somebody who really needed to hear you today.
Well, I just want to say that never, if you have a dream, if you don't have a dream, find your dream, find your place, find what it is you really want to do with your life. You are the CEO of your life, and nobody can take that from you. You make the decisions for your life. And if you need to do, if you want to find well how to get started and the things you really want to do, reach out to somebody who has already done that. Never give up on your dream. My mottos that I live by is speak life and live your dream. Those are the two things that you will always see around me. And I keep positive things around me. Happy, laugh, fun, family, those visual things that keep me focused.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. Speak life and live your dreams. Tap into the Simone Walker Productions and tap into her voiceover classes and any of the other expertise. Listen, I want to thank you because you elevated something we reiterate here, and that's that you don't have to know it all. There are others that you can be successful. If you see them winning at it and you just want it, I would be the first to find a way to encounter that individual.
Reach out, reach
And as you shared, social media makes it easy to drop a DM or to inbox or comment on a page or a post. It makes it so easy. Family, no more excuses. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you back. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. As we go into the wrap up for the show, family, we want to remind you that it's so important, as we shared with Inside the News, that you remember NAMI is available to support you. Go to the National Alliance on Mental Illness and get information, NAMI.org, with what they can do to provide your family with resources, to provide you with support. And then, how about this? Why don't you take your support and then become a peer to someone else who's walking the journey? That's somewhere where you used to be, that you understand. We all need each other in some way. You have the ability to help someone. Go to NAMI.org, or if you need that voice, there is a NAMI helpline. The National Alliance on Mental Illness has a helpline with individuals readily available just for you and your health care and your well being, with resources, with so much that can help you, your family, your circle. My goodness, I promise you, if you tap into that page, you'll get mental health education. You'll get information on what they're doing across the country. And for new school who might want to tap into and you don't want to call the helpline, you can click on the website, NAMI Helpline, and chat with someone the exact same way you could if you picked up the phone and called. What we're not doing anymore is living in excuses. Make sure you tap into the resources readily available to make you great. And oh, I want to thank the amazing CEO of Simone Walker's Productions for joining us today. Her event hosting, her professional announcing. I mean, you all heard some of the great things she's tapping into. And I didn't get the chance to ask her, but I can only imagine what's next for Simone Walker. On social media platforms, IG and Facebook, all things Simone Walker. And she's offered her personal email if you have any questions and want to get some advice. Now, she does cost, so that does not say for free, but she's also a very open heart and willing to help others. As she mentioned, she's done 30-minute consultations to help actors and actresses get to that next level. I recommend emailing her and see where it goes. Family, the best is what we will bring. And we're so glad she joined us today to remind us of the personal journey that it takes to use your gifts and talents to help even during healing. You got that? If you sing in the shower, sing louder, baby, when you're crying, when you need to move forward. If you're an artist, come on and paint whatever you're feeling and hurting. You can make money off of that. If you're a writer, write those pages and pour out what you're feeling onto paper. There are books that then turn into screenplays that then turn into movies. Come on, your gifts will make room for you, is what those of us believe in scripture. What that means is that it can help be your cheddar. It can also help with your healing. You walk in the gifts that you have every day. You pour into others to make sure they're using their gifts. You become the light in darkness. One of the things Simone mentioned is both of y'all can't be on the high. Everybody can't be at a negative space. Someone has to step down and allow positivity to reign and balance that. One of the reasons relationships work so well because you've got two people that can balance each other. It's just that when the connection breaks, we like to emphasize the brokenness instead of taking time to reestablish the balance. I'm so glad she joined us. One of my favorite people on the planet, and I look forward to having her back. And as always, as we wrap up this amazing show, we hope the information was helpful. We hope you feel equipped, educated, empowered, and elevated to be the difference. Not wait for someone else to do it. You come on, stand up, rise up, show up, and you do it where you are. Family, we thank all of those 911 responders and those who put themselves in harm's way every day to keep us safe, even just to protect our property. Come on, y'all. We thank you for all that you do to be selfless servants. We also thank the medical professionals who stand when we are broken and do their best to help us, to help our family members, including caregivers of our parents and our children, those teachers, educators, anyone, whatever you are doing, be and make a difference. And yes, we'll never sign off without thanking our military, our active duty, the families of our military who live without their loved ones so that we can all be free to disagree, and to the veterans who have so selflessly served and trailblazed. I'm excited. I'm on fire. I am so ready for the next show. Remember, every Monday and Friday, we're right here on the We Empower Network. We'll see you next time.